That was the perfect song to go out on and to come back in. It's like Whitney Houston said, it's just been one of those days. It's been some days. This is I met one day. It's been some days.
Yeah, but she said life is going right. I said life ain't right
Well,
right
part of
now.
the song she said life is going right, but yeah, life is not going right. Look at Dr. Fight taking the hat off. Woo!
Dr. Fight got a haircut.
Dr. Fight got a haircut. He done got, yeah. Okay, he done got all spruced up on us. And we are back talking to Dr. Fight is joining us in our conversation, and we're going to pick up where he left off. Dr. Fight, you're up.
Well, I was just saying that in order for justice to be served anywhere, the truth has to be told.
Mm-hmm.
And the narrative that we continue to play across all media outlets is that these riots and that protests are being led by young African Americans. You and I both see the majority of people out there are not African American, especially in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I mean, black people, live in Minnesota. So to say that we're leading protests in larger numbers than any other race is just a false. And this is the egregious poor characterization of African Americans that we continue to find is that instead of us reporting the news, we end up victimizing the victim all over.
Right.
So typically when people end up, remember when Trayvon Martin George murdered him, people were sending money to Black Lives Matter with Trayvon, justice for Trayvon, but at the same time, the two attorneys started a campaign for Google and raised somewhere north of $1 billion in response. So when you see racism, it plays itself out because the racists will support their side of the argument, and the ones that are victims will support their side of the argument. So it becomes, instead of solving the problem, it becomes the competition to who can win the fight. In this case, the racists have been winning the fight because at the end of the day, if they're able to fund campaigns of the one that they're on the side of, police officer, their campaign is funded. They don't have to raise money. They don't have to mortgage their house or do anything like that in order for their defense. They end up getting off. And so while Floyd's family is planning a funeral, they get a paid leave vacation
Right.
until they get fired from the job. And then in some cases they can draw a pension. And this becomes the problem that we see because we're not telling the truth about what's really happening in these cases. And if the truth ain't told, a true picture and reality of what we're fighting, but we don't even know how to fight. How do you hit a moving target? You don't know what you're fighting against. Because there's so many lies being told.
I think one of my big questions that I have over and over again is for the police departments and all these other entities when you hire these people. I don't understand if these people have had multiple incidents on their record. I'm not understanding why they are still in uniform. So my question is, if you're the superintendent or you're the captain or the sergeant or whatever, and you know this is a bad officer, why is he still in uniform? And I don't want to hear about it's the blue thing. What about the right and wrong thing? What's the right and wrong thing? Why not choose that?
Our human instinct is to protect what we know and what we believe. So as African Americans, we will protect other African Americans. We'll give them 2 and 3 strikes before we give anybody else 1 strike. We'll see that we have family like Pookie go out and do 2 or 3 things. Oh, well, we'll come up with excuses on why Pookie did that. Pookie mama had always been around, and Pookie daddy been out of jail. So we make excuses for Pookie only because we see the behavior of Pookie and some of the stuff around because we can identify with Pookie because we've seen that or lived it ourselves. But let another race do the same thing Pookie does in the African American community, we'll say, oh, see, something ain't right about that. We'll begin to characterize them because we know about their situation. same is true with the police department. They have a human instinct to protect one another. Cops will protect cops. But when they make a mistake, somebody that wasn't armed, they say, I can understand how that can happen because I understand the fear that comes with going out here in a situation you don't know what you're walking into. And so it's forgivable because I've lived through the shoes, seen it through your lenses, but people who haven't seen it through their lenses will see these incidents and say, how in the world they get to carry badge when they made these type of mistakes in the past? And so on one side, you have a group of individuals who think it's horrible, but on the other side, you have the group of individuals who believe that that mistake can possibly happen. The only way to fix it is that we cannot allow cops to investigate cops.
Okay.
There has to be a third party entity
Yes.
that when there's an incident, that cop is put on leave, even if they're in the investigation.
Right.
But the investigation can't have cops on it. And
I-
if they do have cops, it can't be from that jurisdiction.
Yes.
Be from the State Bureau of Investigation or even the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Or it has to, the community has to come together to put a community group together and say, we are going to and then come back with findings.
See, I heard that. I heard that statement last night, and the guy was saying we want community policing, community police, and I wasn't really sure at that point what that meant. But they said, yeah, so you want to have a group of community of civilians, basically, is what they're saying, right? That is working within the police department. Is that correct? Because I think that's what it is. Am I correct?
I would dare say I don't want them working within the police department. I want a group of people who are not a part of the police department looking at the incident and coming up with clear eye. We do it in our court system.
Absolutely.
We put 12 people who don't even
No.
know about this case in a box
Yep.
and hear the facts and see the facts
Yep.
to be able to make an informed decision without it being played with their opinion. And that's what we need to do. We need to get normal citizens together, individuals together, and say, all right, you're going to investigate this officer and these actions. Here is what we know. Here is what you have access to. We need you to look into this and bring us back a recommendation. And that's how you move forward. Because if police officers are looking at the same thing,
Yep.
they're going to come over to the same conclusion. Because they had the same training.
I agree.
They see things the same way. You got to get somebody else.
See, I said something very similar. I said I think that FBI should be placed in every precinct or whatever within all 50 states. I said that they are a separate entity, and they need to do, anytime there is any type of racial incident, I think it automatically should be put into the FBI's hands. Automatically, no discussion.
Anytime I've said that, most police, I sat on a panel with an officer, and the rebuttal is we have internal affairs.
Oh, yeah, we know. Yeah. So how do we go about demanding certain things? We just have to demand. How do we go about demanding certain things? I mean, who do you talk to? Where do you start in your community? With the people that we elect, where do we start with them?
Well, see, the problem is money. It comes down to budget, because that's what they're throwing in people's face. Republicans believe in small government. Democrats believe in big. And so the problem is when you have another force of government that you have to fund, or another part of your state and local budget that you have to find money for, they always say, oh, well, that's a democratic thing. They just want more money to expand government. But we don't need government overreaching in certain areas into the community and public lives. So here it's a competition. So now the Democrats hire lobbyists to be able to fight for what they want and have the oversight they want to make things are equal and fair. But then in response, the Republicans will throw money into their lobbyist pockets and be able to speak to not getting that happen. So now we're back in the competition where we end up nothing getting done.
See that's why I said, the whole political machine, the whole back and forth, that needs to stop. Because I don't want you telling me, oh, I care about what's happening in your community, when all we're caring about is that who's going to get what they want first. Because you're not concerned about what's happening in all these communities in the United States. You're only concerned about how is it going to personally affect you. So I want to know who has to watch these people. We need some watchers to watch people who has nothing to gain. So I don't know what that is, but I know what it looks like in my head. But legally, how would that work? We need to figure that out.
Well,
Because I will say this: over the past few days, I have seen people step up that I normally would not have seen step up. I have seen people say things that I like. Here's the one thing: I have literally heard people refer to George Floyd, refer to his straight out murder. The man was murdered. I have never, to be honest, have heard. There's always been like another police incident or a racial incident, but it's been just come out and said blatant murder. So, do you not feel that that's something? That's something. That's changing. That will hopefully change something. I know. Here you go. Here you go. Here you go. Come on. You always throw a damn cloth on me.
When I was a senior in college at North Carolina Central University, I'm an ordinary barnyard fowl. When I walked the local hills and Burning Green, my last year, it was another elective, and I took an independent study in American government. And I did my independent study on a new form of government. And the form of government I wrote on basically a jurist government. Now, so this is how you take money out of politics to get stuff done, in my opinion. I still believe this to this day. Let's treat our political officers just like we do our jury. If right now I work a full-time job and I got a letter in the mail telling me I had to go serve in a jury box and be a part of a jury pool, guaranteed my job when I get back. My job cannot fire me for not showing up that day because I had jury duty. Guaranteed my job. So we randomly select by registration in our community. So, and I think the jury system is you can only serve every 2. They can't call you within that 2-year time. And so that's what I say we should do on the federal level as well as the level of government. We should randomly select people to represent different districts and allow them to go and do their same job, as well as, hey, these current politicians receive. And when they get back from their service of their term, then guess what? They go right back to the life that they were living before they left. Now, they have to serve 4 years, 6 years, however many times they want to leave the term is, and they're still guaranteed their job if it's still in business there. Now, if the business closes and go overseas, they're warranted the insurance that any other person would get in that case. But the thing is, you know you only have 4 years. But why would a lot of put money into your pocket for your campaign when you're not running for re-election? You're not running to stay in that long. It takes the money component out of it. And it just forces me to think of what do I want to make when I get back home? How do I want to live? What laws will benefit my people and benefit us? And now we have a sensible conversation at the table. Because when we begin to be honest about all of our situations, they're kind of similar. Groceries the price of groceries going up affects everybody. The price of gas going up affects everybody.
Absolutely.
A living wage, an increase in finances, when you don't get it, it still affects everybody. And so now we're thinking all on the same page. It's not about race. It's not about color. It's not about money. It's about change. It's meaningful change. Because now I get to make the choice. And when I'm done, somebody else gets to make the choice. And we continue to press an agenda forward because now you have representation of everybody from everywhere sitting at the table to talk sensibly about the problems for real.
That's an interesting concept, Dr. Fight. I'm just going to say it's interesting. It's an interesting concept. I mean, I,
you get rid of a lot of things.